And each of the people from all over the world come and pay their respects to Marilyn every year on August the 5th. Obviously, this was a very... Marilyn came into my life as a young boy growing up in the Midwest, when I went to see her in Some Like It Hot at a local drive-in. To have known her through the many special guests we've had at the meetings, and I am thankful that 33 years after that, we are still, and you all are here to support us through your prayer. I look forward to many years of remembering this great actress and amazing. Welcome again. I would like to, at the beginning of the service, just send some regrets from some people that are not able to include George. Had another commitment that came up at the last minute. George Veras, whom is now confined to his home. He's not in good health with you today, but it's just physically impossible for him anymore. I also from Patricia, who was called to London unexpectedly and is unable to be here also. And again, she sends her love and she cannot be here. I'd also like to just give a big thank you to a few people that have really made this service today so wonderful. Starting with Jill, who came early and helping in the past. Also, a big thank you to Jackie Craig, who not only has been helping with the service today, but she's our monitor online for all things Marilyn Remembered related and does a great job of doing that. Thank you, Jackie. And also, Fortner, who's been, he's always there. He's the one running for our live streaming and did the program. And he's for whatever we need. He's willing. Never says no. God bless you, Scott Fortner. So I'd like to start by introducing our first guest, an actress who had the opportunity to appear with Marilyn.
Talk into this.
Okay, no, I have a loud voice ordinarily, so. I was under 26. Someone there had seen me as on Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life, of all things, and called, and actually my mother answered at that. And they said, this is 26. How soon can we see you? Living in. She hung up and thought, that's a lot. Anyway, they called back. I got to 20th, and I was, so I could only work 4 hours a day. You had to sit with the teacher the other 4 hours. So at some I had to be trained by one of the coaches, not the favorite one, a nicer. I had Helena Sorrell, who could be very mean and cranky.
We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, see, I'm on that. So that those of us who had acting coaches, there were three particular. Helena Sorrell, which is not necessarily a pleasant person.
She was nice to me.
But hopefully nice to Marilyn. And then there was Natasha Lytess. Nice. I worked with her a lot. To be there. And at some, I guess Daryl Zanuck said, I have girls here who are, so they have to go to school all day, so I guess I should just put them in. So they sent me to Howard Hawks, directing Monkey Business with Marilyn and Cary Grant. We'll have you in Monkey Business. So I was in, and I was piling a lot of records into Cary Grant's arms, and Marilyn was looking like, are they going to or what? Actually, I have some of those pictures with me. And so that was, you know, a terrific experience. Breaks between shooting. And Cary Grant would sing, play the piano, because he had started as song and dance man in England. And Marilyn spent a lot of time, and I never why until Greg let me know some information. It would have glass front for studied acting. I know Chekhov, who of using a particular gesture to put yourself in the right mood. So years later, that's what Marilyn actually did study at that time with my. So I was happy to hear that because the theories were great. You put yourself in the room by making certain gestures. It's really, and so I never realized that Marilyn had actually been with him. That's great that she was, because this is before, or before at least Paula. She knew Lee very nice, but she was very shy, quiet, and up in time at the door, and so many people devoted. You know, we didn't later. She was so famous and loved and thought about, and all these events that take place. But it was certainly a wonderful hour movie. Darryl Zanuck said, you have to cut at least an hour movie. I don't anymore. But happily, and no one was on the set taking pictures. And so we didn't have any pictures. And then a friend of ours happened to be in the 20th still department years later, and there he found, and there we are. I'm putting records into Cary Grant's, and which was, and she was very sweet. And it's hard that through all these, it is wonderful. And so many people, diverse types of people. And I say, about with Marilyn's, and they just become overwhelmed. And my daughter was in school to the students with Marilyn, and they said, "Oh my God, where's your dawn in the hearts of millions of people?" And there's no one else like that I can think of. No other that has been so beloved and so many years. So it was to be in that, and it's a pleasure to have been able to tell you. Thank you.
A lady for Ella Fitzgerald, and Ella was able to perform at a nightclub in Los Angeles. I think that was pretty back then to take that kind of. Audrey Franklin, somewhere out there. There's Marilyn, and he was also the original president of the very first Marilyn Club, James Spada.
Oh, it's be here in Staten Island, and it was a great because we had the New York media, we had the New York newspapers and television and radio, and in those days there were 7 daily in New York: the Daily News, the Daily Mirror, the New York Post, the Broadsheets, Journal American, Herald Tribune, the New York Telegram and Sun. There was any news about all kinds of newspapers to choose from. You could find pictures of her and articles about her. It was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen, and I sent the picture at the newspaper and saw it. And the New York Daily News was a wonderful place for Marilyn. The press loved Marilyn, and they published them in the newspaper. And I remember that the paper, their cover now is very good. It would be the headline photograph. And so when Marilyn unfortunately went to 1961, they had a beautiful photo photograph of her at the premiere of the pyramid dress strap and smiling very broadly. And the first Marilyn was The Misfits. My parents was also thrilled to see the Maurice Zolotel book published, the first biography of Marilyn. And I read her entire life story for the first time. I wasn't making any movies at the time. Occasional gossip column items, but it wasn't like she did. I would check out the movie magazines at my local store. I would thought it was very. I remember one time, Martin Street used to have who was going to be on the next cover. That out, who was going to be on the next cover. I looked at it and said, on the next cover, a tiger. I thought, a tiger? What the hell? They could put, well, the next month when I went to get the magazines, it was Marilyn with a tiger, that famous actor. Very excited. I wondered, though, how photographs of Marilyn earlier in her life, her career, since I was started collecting in 1969. A page where you could say that you've got pictures of somebody and could they send you people in general in exchange for pictures of Marilyn. So I did that, and I got a tremendous, and I got all these wonderful clippings of Marilyn. You may recall it in the early days color board. And I came one day, and my mother had opened one of the packages, and she sat me down at the table, and she started pulling out one beautiful little picture. I was just so. So I was adding to my collection quite quickly. So I went to the store, and the New York Journal American had photographs of Marilyn from the costume casts of me. Now, there was a radio that Marilyn was going to be at a birthday party in Madison. And she said, never put her name, she's not going to show up. I didn't have a radio with a TV on. And a friend of my brother's called the house. I turned, and firstly, Marilyn Monroe was dead. The next day, just from a purely collector's standpoint, every newspaper in New York had dozens, 6 photographs or across the top. Journal American, right above the title. The pages. The New York Daily had front page photograph of Marilyn Monroe, 20 strips in the Movie and the TV Time magazine. Quite a bit of mail, and it was used for $2.25 stamps. Had about 50 members, and we would make mimeograph, and it was all very amateurish, but in the course of the club, Jim Hasfield became a part of the club, and so he just, made the presentation of the journal and asking her if she could remember. She wrote back and said yes, which was exciting. I liked Patricia Neal a lot, and had a stroke. She was recovering, and I wrote to her, I really appreciate it if you would be a member of my club. And she wrote back and she said, dear James Bader, I would love to be a member of your Marilyn Monroe fan club. Thank you very much for asking. Very, very nice. I had to disband the club in 19. I continued to love Marilyn, but my interest wide. I wrote a book about Barbra Streisand and then a book about Robert Redford. And I was thinking about, there's really never a big picture book about Marilyn Monroe. Photographs with just extended captions of what was going on in photographs. So I approached George Zeno, who had this incredible collection of Marilyn photographs, and asked if he would work with me on it. To do so. And I remember George and I sitting, and it was so much fun for me. Most of these pictures, it was like someone seeing the pictures for the first time, published. And George and I had a little battle going because he just won, so I liked a little bit older. So you got your 19 photograph at this premiere, and I'm going to have my 19 at this event. The book was a tremendous success. It was all day. It was excerpted polls, people, it on the club selection. There were several foreign languages, yeah, so that was very helpful in getting the publicity and the interest. I've been wanting to Tom Ewing. An odd story about Marilyn telling him she'd never been to, and I thought, well, that's but I hadn't been to a party as a little, no one invited her to a birthday. The idea that he was, and I commend him for it now. Greg's way for us to express our love for Marilyn, and somehow I know I love him.
Oh, somebody else's glasses. Morrissey, I see up there. Welcome to our next actress, who is known as Mr. Belver, My Little Girl, The Golden Blade, The Golden and Kathleen Goose.
Fox, right? She had been dropped. She had. I don't know. It's pretty.
She was fully dropped.
Okay. Where was I?
Start over. Where Country Fox?
Under contract for 6 months, and they. Meanwhile, I covered in a little theater in a play, discovered studying directors, and she was going to be in the. And the studio club consisted of all the behind people, the mail room, and she was telling me that this show was a girl for Marilyn because she had been raving about her. And she was so gorgeous. And she had just been and this dress that was song and dance. The song I never in kind of double entendre, and Marilyn so well and talked, and she was very. I met her, but meanwhile Marilyn was out on her ear because she had been dropped. About 6 months, I called from casting saying, "Can you dance?" And I said, called A Ticket to Tomahawk, and 4 dancing girls. Can you do it? I don't know. This poor man, one day that they do this musical number on stage, what they're doing it on. And so I went to watch where she was with the 3 contract players. And it was a very cute. Now, see, that was A Ticket to Tomahawk. And that was the second time I met her. And my husband, Stanley, before I met him, made a film called River of No Return. And he Santa. Marilyn for the lead. Meanwhile, my husband and I were both under contract to Universal. My husband kept inviting me out on dates, and I kept turning him down. I mean, I was dating actors. Silly me. You know who he was. He was a producer. Again, silly me. And he would ask me out, and I would turn him down. And then one day, he asked me. 3 months later, we were married.
This is Marilyn and some. the role of Olga. And I met her on campus for 30 months.
I wish I could give these stories like Sharon did, and of course Kathleen. Sadly, I only was. She wasn't there, God, so we 6-week contract, and we wound up with 4.5 months. But I must tell you, it was this time of my life. I was fortunate enough to, when she asked for the cocktail shaker in the train berth, I'm sorry, didn't. And train berth with crazy young actors. It wasn't easy. It was wonderful. And then only Curtis, ice, and I'm running. Ice, where's the ice? The natives are getting restless. Back from England, they don't know what ice is. So anyway, that was fun. I had 2 scenes with her, and I can tell you what a nice, wonderful, kind. It bangs Marilyn. Oh, you remember Marion Collier? She was all. She said, "Oh, I do." I said, "You do?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Yes." She says, "The one who didn't die or blonde like mine was standing right." It was her, but she picked it up anyway. I'm sure I could give you more. We had 4.5 months. Anyway, thank you very much.
Steve, no. We thought we'd throw that. Those of you who really pay attention might recognize the fact that she wore the same dress since she was in Niagara. You would never tell us by him sitting at the drums, the trumpet, and he always tries to steal the show. Very difficult to get the attention away. She's like a standard that we measure everything else by. Every other gal that comes up. Years later, famous as this.
That was just great. I'd like to see the whole film. It's only long, it's a short.com. 50 years after her charm. Somehow, no matter where she was or what she was doing, she always seemed to lack that she was. She made others feel at ease, and she brightened up every room she ever entered. You knew that she was as a matter of pucker of the lips. All the supremely self-aware spectacle of a superstar. When I met her, to Marilyn was in her infancy. Norma Jean was still trying to find that perfect pitch, that voice that was 40 teen in a foster home and married young to get away. But her laugh was so natural. Those moments were characterized. Eventually, I believe that I used Marilyn as a way to hide Elaine's creation in her own. She took millions of photos of her. She posed. Very few shots remain where the Marilyn persona. I often tell folks seeking to know the real Norma Jean to look no. And the photos she took of her husband, Arthur Miller. In them, for the first time, she forgets about the camera. All that she knows is the man standing next to her. The man revealed the reason Rose will come. It is not any longer. Rather, it is here we see her sister as a daughter, as someone we want to be okay. We love her because for all the glamour and her heart was still bigger than felt things very strongly. And she lived her life not as a candle in the wind, but as a burning fireball to engulf all things pure. Keep your memory alive for generations to come. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you sharing these memories with us. We unfortunately was unable to be with us today, but she has Harrison Hill on her behalf.
Hello everyone. This is what she sent. Greetings to all. My heart is with you too in person. It's so nice to know that there are so many Marilyn Monroe alive. And always will be unforgettable. My father, Mickey Rooney, told me that she was not only beautiful, but there are those of you that knew her. I'm very proud of my father's legacy. And I'm also very proud of all of you that keep, and I will continue to celebrate this wonderful.
Take a moment to thank two more organizations that have sponsored the event today, and we're so appreciative of the support. That is Julian's and Mike. Thank you, Julian, and also to the museum and Denell Delegate for her generous support of today. And just to show inside of your programs is a flyer for beginning of September. An entire floor has been given over to artifacts Monroe and fun things to look at and see. Thank you both organizations very much. Our next speaker is the actress, model, and author of 6 books, Intimate Exposure. She is also the daughter for Bruno Bernard, whose photos of Marilyn are some of the best. Before he became still photographer at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts. His photo of Marilyn from the 70s was selected as the symbol of the century by the Museum of Modern Art in New York. I'd like to please Susan Bernard.
Good morning. Fine. When I inherited my father's legacy, Bruno Bernard, the legendary Bernard of Hollywood, I was surprised to learn I had also inherited Marilyn. And Marilyn belonged to me, as you all know. She insists, taunts, and mystifies me. As the years pass, a world of admirers and historians life as they go along. We are all in search of the real Marilyn. Marilyn filmmakers, yes, even friends, biographers try to find a new approach. Fantastic stories. Secret about Marilyn, friend to her. I don't think there's many who could say that. It belongs to everyone. A few quotes. When I used to look at the orphanage and I'd see a lit up sign that read RKO, the movie star. But I know some of you sort of do that one so well. Great. Let's see. You know, it's hard to pick. On the set of me, things started with you. It's one of my favorites. Hours to become. And I know you're all will appreciate this quote of hers. Say that I am a star, the people made me. No studio, no, but the people did it. This is one that always moves me. I love these don't have to be involved with the Baptist that in this chapel, closest to heaven one can be, that I start crying. And she's been an angel in my life. It has brought me experiences and given me a charmed life that I'm. So thank you, Dad, and thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you, Susan. That was lovely. Thank you for sharing today. Aren't we lucky we have so many people that we. Before we go any further, I just wanted to mention that after this, we will briefly go to the crypt and just hours, and then you are all in my home. There's lunch for all of you. So, if you need to have a map to my home, the back of the Great Shop on Wilshire Boulevard. So I hope that a lot of you will come and join us on that line for you and know you better. That's a great way to do that. Who will share memories of Marilyn Monroe?
I think it's very interesting that film stars really do live on, and I'm in my 7th book about my own childhood, surrounded by so many of them. My father's house, Berg, and or Stella Adler, and a couple of other, and 2 days a week, 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday, and I noticed that, 3 or 4 months after I started the class, this woman was there. She sat very quietly at the end of the row, using her future. And Marilyn sat very still during these exercises. Her started to cry, and the sight of this alarmed me, frankly. We still have a very specific Stanislavski-oriented 2-year program for working on ambition so seriously. After all, she was her own personality was, and replaced with its own character she'd be playing. I think everybody knows she went to play Grushenka in Brothers Karamazov. But I started spending a little time with the class, and Lee Strasberg had given her a lot of her future skills. To Paula Strasberg, who was clearly kind of a replacement, and I don't know how that's likely to Paula. See that they were subtly exploited her, and I learned that I thought it was an irony that this woman who was very kind of her just wanted to very hard under the party, and there were fairly well-known public figures there, and I just come to terms with her. And she said, well, I was so touched by having the honesty to say that in a room. And she said, I think I should speak to her. And I said, well, if there's someone you'd like to speak to, I'll come over and they can sit here. No, I don't want to do that. We were both still studying with Strasberg, and I said, do you want to go out to coffee, for coffee sometime after the class? And she said, okay, let's just go to this local coffee shop, even without me. said, well, how long? And I said, well, probably a week. And I mean, I have to do what you need to do. And I said, well, maybe you did it under another name. And, you know, you could call yourself something else. And maybe you could do something on Broadway where, you know, anybody. And she said, no, fine, whatever. But an awful lot of it. To see, and she had learned to be used arts and bust. I think I'm Stanley, an extraordinary. Legal take it, try to develop a technique for. And I had been advised of the other. So I lays class, do periodically. I remember her saying, from St. to how exercise them. This is again a cliche, first marriage, and the support she got in her life. And I know she'd be very touched to see this room full of people that obviously loved her on screen. And I do feel.
Thank you, Greg, and thank you all for having me be out. I'm singing for over 15 years. And it's wonderful gifts in my life to be part of the Marilyn family. And I too am feeling this year, I'm feeling very emotional about Marilyn. And I thank you for allowing me to be your singer, and Marilyn publicly, but and I would sing, you know, live there with my boyfriend. Never mind. Right, great. I'm a little over. So do not stand at my grave and weep. Thank you for letting me be Marilyn's.